It's so devastating that this is the only way forward that Yaz saw for herself.
I know. She always makes the worst possible choice. I hate it. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to And Just Like Yap. I am Andy.
I'm Caroline.
We made it.
Looks like we made it. Look how far we come, my baby.
I have to thank this show. I feel like it actually made me smarter.
Yeah.
I haven't worked this hard on research since I was in college. It was announced that we are getting a 5th season, so we will see.
5th and final.
5th and final, so we will see all our freaks again for one last ride. Let's get into it, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, episode opens. We're at this politics hour show where, you know, people sit behind a desk like they're calling an NFL game, but it's our lives. We're talking about how Lisa Dern was fed to the wolves.
Bitch.
Our favorite bitch.
I'm doing a Hunger Games whistle for her.
I agree. Bitches everywhere. Lisa Dern was the one who got swallowed up in the whole tender debacle. This fucking guy, what is his name? Something Stefanovic?
Sebastian Stefanovic.
Okay, this fucking guy who has a name like a theater warm-up tongue twister. Sebastian Stefanovic.
It's like a Beetlejuice. He's gonna show up, but instead it's like, actually, I'm taking your rights away. Woo!
He represents this like weird neoliberalism party. I don't know. There's a lot of political parties in England, and also like in this day and age, it becomes increasingly more difficult to figure out where people's politics are because left and right doesn't really exist anymore. More than anything, it's like haves and have-nots. So this guy, you know, he's going after Jennifer Bevan the same way he was going after Lisa, but he's like neither political party, aka like Labor versus Conservative. Neither political party like is the one that's gonna like bring Britain into the future, whatever. So we head back to Tender where we have this Eric Satie song playing, this like classical, very like brooding, repetitive, very spooky. And we are back at Tender and the police are there going through stuff. Ferdinand is still there, seemingly unscathed. Nobody's figured him out yet, but yeah, they're grabbing computers, they're grabbing cell phones, like shit's hit the fan. This image.
Yeah.
Put it on.
This is the cuntiest thing that like the arms are showing, the cigarette hanging out of the mouth. She's been up all night. I can smell the Red Bull and vodka permeating from all of her orifices. Like, it's everything.
I love this. Put this image on a hat, put it on a t-shirt, get my first tattoo. And she's emailing all of her investors to be like, today's the day, bitches. We're about to get rich. Meanwhile,
my God,
we visit Whitney, and like many a middle schooler in a production of Fiddler on the Roof Jr. before him, he is using spirit gum to put on a big old beard.
It makes me think of, you know, in Les Mis, when everyone's like, who is this man? And Jean Valjean is like the most recognizable human alive.
Nobody knows. Him. He's just the mayor now.
Mayor. He just stole a loaf of bread, everybody, but he lifted this whole wagon. It's Whitney.
Let's recap Les Mis. Anyway, Whitney's on the run. Tony Day's getting arrested. You picked the wrong side, my guy. Jennifer Bevan, as always in this show, the lesser evil of whatever characters we're dealing with, makes a big speech that goes well enough. It's not Labor's fault for endorsing Tender. It's market capitalism's fault, and we're just a useful scapegoat. I mean, here's the thing. Late-stage capitalism is a monster, and it destroys everything in its path.
Correct.
But we're all contributing to it, and none of us are blameless. And you, certainly, Jennifer Bevan, are not blameless, but, like, nice little, you know, politicizing of this moment. Meanwhile, while Jennifer Bevan's giving her speech about how, like, it's her job as a politician to become seduced and lobbied, which is true, Henry is arriving back to the Tender flat. Back to
Virginia Woolf headquarters.
And Jennifer Bevan's capping off her speech by saying, I actually am, like, really excited that we fucked up. It's a learning opportunity. Aren't you excited that we messed up so badly and we get to learn from it? Okay, great spin. Yaz looks like she's attending a funeral, which she is. Henry's upset that Yaz colluded with his uncle without telling him, and Henry thinks he has the upper hand here and is like, this is not a partnership. You messed up. Little does he know, Yaz agrees. We get this beautiful shot where we think all is well. The two are going to come together and, you know, try to move forward from this. The other shoe drops and Yaz is like, I don't love you anymore. And then she has the audacity to, after she like breaks this hug, say it again to his face to be like, in case you didn't hear me while I was behind your back, let this hit home. I do not love you anymore.
Well, because it's like before we've seen, so in episode 2, we had the knockout drag out fight with like the two of them, the fighting about the prenup. And now it's like you can tell she's really out of it because it's very like straightforward.
Yes.
It's very practical, no nonsense. It's like, yeah, this has been done, Henry. It's like, draw out the papers. We're done.
She announces that she wants a divorce. She realizes, like, Henry is not going to go down without a fight. He's like, we're really in the thick of it right now. You're just not, like, thinking clearly. He tries absolutely every single tactic, including we're Catholic, for fuck's sake, as if that makes any difference. Like, dude...
I know.
You're shooting heroin into your arm. I don't know if the Pope is really into that either.
No. And it's interesting. So there's like a whole thing, because obviously, like, I'm Episcopalian, which is like Catholic light, so it's like a whole different thing. But like you have to, I think in the Catholic Church, it's sort of like the Mormon thing where you're like signed into like, I don't know, like a book.
I love all this fake shit that we make up that has like strict rules. But yeah, he's trying every angle. Every woman has been through this breakup where, like, it's definitely not working, the guy knows it's not working, and you try to end it, and they're like, new tactic. What if I tried this? What if I tried this?
And it's just like, Yaz knew she was going to be taking care of this man forever.
Yes.
It's like, this was just, like, she's put him on a pedestal enough as far as she could go, and she, like, there was nowhere else for her to go.
And I loved this. Henry is like... Okay, I have no other ammunition here. I am just going to use the pathetic card, though, and, like, you can't leave me like this. And I love this. Yaz is crying, and you think she's going to, like, say something sympathetic, and she says, of course I can. Ah! I loved it. I love this so much. It reminds me of, it's very, like, Sondheim, like that song, Could I Leave You, from Follies. I don't know if you're familiar. Yeah. Leave you. How could I leave you?
Oh, I'm familiar with the Sondheim 80th birthday celebration where they're all in red.
Yep, Donna Murphy. Caroline, I watched that about 45 minutes ago while preparing for this episode. So yes, that's exactly what this reminded me of. Henry starts crying and he's like, but we were going to have a whole life. We were going to have kids. And again, I just love this. Who said like, Yasmin is like, okay, I was trying to be sympathetic. I was getting emotional because I don't like to see you sad. But, like, now you're not making any fucking sense. Now you're telling me that I had desires for my future that, like, I never explicitly stated. I have been through this breakup. Not this exact breakup, but a breakup where it's like, my guy, how much convincing do you need? I don't want to be here.
And it's not good for you either. Like, how you don't want this.
No.
Like, I can tell you, this is, like, not good for you. It's not good for me.
Back at Stern headquarters, I love this shot. The three of them staring directly into the camera as the screen. They are about to make so much money because markets are about to open for the day. And Sweetpea's like, I wonder what it's going to feel like.
It's almost like I wanted them to jump into the screen.
I know.
To, like, be on, like, sliding down as, like, the numbers go down.
Yeah, they're just boogie boarding down that wave. I know. The market's open. I can't fucking read this thing, but it's low. You know, the share price is low because everybody's pulled their money out. Tender sucks. It's a scam. And Kwabena does the profit and loss, and it turns out...
The whiteboard is back!
The whiteboard is back.
Back!
I really love these little touches of, like, we're still keeping Eric's philosophy and way of doing things around. Like, they criticized him for the whiteboard, but they're still using it. And they stand to make $110 million off of this short, which is crazy. Kwabena and Sweetpea rightly go nuts, and Harper's just kind of, like, paralyzed and adrift and, like, doesn't even really know how to react, and they both scream, and she's like, ah! They tell her she's got to close the position. She calls Kenny and says a bunch of words that I didn't quite get, but basically means, like, we're done with our short. We'd like to collect our money now, please, but do it in a way that's not gonna, like, scare other people who are doing shorts, because if we all cover our shorts at once, I think that would be bad financially. So they're trying to do it slow and steady. Harper tells them, go ahead and like order all the room service you want. Sweetpea orders caviar and also wants to send somebody out for McDonald's fries. Harper goes in to Eric's former room. And by the way, like we still have the thing next to the bed, the picture frame of his two girls. Like this room is like a tomb. It's been like left untouched, like he died. Harper's on the phone. She gets his voicemail and starts crying. She finally starts to get emotional and realizes that like, I'm sure Eric knows what's going on, but he's not going to pick up the phone for Harper because he's too ashamed and he has fully disappeared himself.
I'm actually shocked he hasn't changed his number.
Yeah.
I would have thought, like, at this point, like, after all that happened, like, get a new number and, like, she can't even reach him.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I don't know. I'm curious to see if in the final season we're going to get, like, one more closing touch of Eric. Like, I wonder, like, is this really the last of Eric? Like, I don't know. That's stuff like I'm thinking about.
I know. I've been thinking about that too, just because he's been such a central character on the show. And this was like my favorite season of him on the show. Like they gave us the best Eric Tao and the best Harper and Eric, and it's so cruel to like wrench that away from us, but it was very effective.
He did an interview also with the actor who played Robert and basically talked about like how the through line, he had the baseball bat every season, but he didn't have the baseball bat this season, but he had the baseball. So it was like that was like his like little like object that he kept throughout all of it.
Actors are so fucking crazy. I love them. Whitney is finally calling Henry from an unknown number and is like, I don't have a lot of time, so like listen to me. We see that Henry has been...
Like an ex calls you.
Yes.
Hey, give me 5 seconds.
Don't hang up.
I swear I'm going to be good this time.
Don't hang up. I'm going to behave. Yeah. You're a bitch. I'm sorry. I'm going to behave. You're a bitch. Yeah. I hate you. I'm going to behave. I love you. I'm sorry. Let me try that again. Anyway, we see that Henry has been just wallowing in this absolute tornado of press that all has his face and name all over it. Whitney directs Henry to a loose panel in the closet where, of course, Whitney has stashed a bunch of money. We knew that this house that Whitney had procured for them was full of secrets. There's a strap-on hiding in the loose floorboard in the other part of the room, and he starts scaring Henry and is like, so, I'm seeing all the headlines and I'm not around. The government wants somebody to take down to prove, like, that it wasn't their fault that this happened. They waved us through, but it's not their fault. They need you to go to jail, sweetie. Yeah. You're gonna have to go to jail, sweetie, because I'm not there. Henry's freaking out. And Whitney is like, why don't you come with me? We'll disappear. When we are out of the UK, we become politicized tools. And Henry's like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? And he's like, there's been Russian interest in Tender. That's a very mild way of putting it, Whitney.
Yeah.
That's like having sex with somebody and then being like, we sat next to each other on a bench once. Like, okay. He knows that he can whip Henry up into a frenzy. Even though he's abandoned him, he knows exactly what to say to play this man. It's so sad.
Well, it's because Whitney's best strength is he's able to whip a story out of thin air. Yes. And that was like a lot of that interview that Mickey and Conrad talked a lot about. A lot of the overarching theme of this season is myth making and storytelling for each of the characters and like how they're able to like spin that for themselves. And Whitney's is all like out of thin air. He's able to do that because he's from a place like America where you can do that. You can create a whole mythology for yourself and no one's going to question it. Only tool he has left is he's able to whip up fear out of nothing. Did you also get a shot of the Best Western?
I did not, no.
Okay, because that was basically a callback to what he said to Tony Day. You'd end up in a 3-star hotel. That he said to him when he was putting the fear of God into Tony Day. So he's now at the 3-star hotel.
That's really interesting. Wow. Whitney is calling Henry from, some hotel probably near the airport. Henry's like, wait a minute, I can figure my way out of this. I will just make a big show of it when they put me on the stand and call out the fact that there was Russian interference here. No bad actor would take the risk. They have to believe me because I'm telling the truth. Henry, you sweet privileged baby.
And that's his myth making.
It is.
Is that he believes that I see the good things. I'm not that bad.
Yeah. Anyway, Whitney is, again, fully scaring Henry of like, sure, yeah, go to jail with your principals. That's fine. Tell everybody it was Russia. Nobody's ever died in jail of suspicious circumstances. Cough, cough, Jeffrey Epstein. Man, Jeffrey Epstein has been a character in this show without being directly said.
It's just like
a lot.
Incredible, because to think about, okay, this was probably filmed and written over a year ago. Mm-hmm. And the fact that, like, this came out yesterday and it's just as relevant. I'm so impressed by this. And it's like, that's why I tell everyone, I was like, you need to be watching Industry because it's somehow like, it is the most relevant current show on TV.
Absolutely. So he's telling Henry what to do, like take the money, take the SIM card out of your phone. Henry grabs his passport. And of course there is this very meaningful picture of Yaz and Henry in the junk drawer with, random keys to stuff. And the two of them just looking so happy at their wedding. Oh, it all went to such shit in the interim.
But they looked beautiful.
And then we have Whitney also looking beautiful, looking like Forrest Gump while he's in his Bubba Gump hat and his beard.
Did you include that picture?
I did not. But if you don't remember, Google Forrest Gump beard. It will come up. It's when he's running and he's got the beard. He's got his Bubba Gump hat. This was Whitney's direct style inspiration. Yeah, and he's reminding him, like, sell me out, you damn us both. Henry has a good old guttural silent scream. I've done this many, many times in my life.
I felt it in my gut.
I did too. I did. I felt my body like vibrating. Oof.
Yeah.
It's not satisfying, but it's what you got to do in some moments. Oh boy, we've got Whitney looking through another glory hole here. He is on a private jet, and the pilot is like, here's how we're going to get this done, of like getting you there in secret. And Whitney's like, I don't care how you do it, just get me there. And he's like, well, we're not leaving at all until you give us money, by the way. And we find out Whitney's ulterior motive here, of course, he just wants to save himself. He just needs the cash to do this like private secret jet flight to get him out of England. And so Henry's got 30 minutes to get him the money. I'm sure he does want Henry to come with him because, like, the two of them have a fun little romp in Lithuania together, hiding out. But ultimately, he just needed him to bring him the money. The transition here was really cool. There was a lot of cool transitions in this episode of, like, characters sort of just, like, closing their eyes and half falling asleep, and then suddenly another character appears. It happens later with Kwabena and Harper. And the pilot's making it clear, like, we just think you're consultants, but once we land, like, we're washing our hands of you. Henry is like, okay, what is the plan here? How is this going to make me safer? Whitney hands him his new Lithuanian passport, and this is a real pivotal moment for Henry because he takes a look at his...
Also, it's like a Targaryen third cousin. Maybe.
Yeah, I know. I know, and he is an Aries, it looks like.
Okay.
Henry takes one look at this passport where he is just a nobody in Lithuania, and then takes a look at his UK passport. He's comparing how accurate it looks, but also, like, I am Sir Henry Muck on my passport. I'm a Sagittarius. I can't just abandon who I am and all of my privilege and all of my position. Like, I mean something in the United Kingdom, which is, what
they also aged him on the other one. He was born in 1984 on the other one.
They did. Yeah. I'm a year younger and a fire sign. Don't do this to me. And, of course, Whitney is offended. Like, excuse me, that was a very nice gift that I got you. That was very expensive and took a lot of work. And Henry's like, you said this would be temporary. This is not temporary. Like, you're giving me a new identity. As the two of them start to get into it, the jet engine starts whirring, and, like, my brain is like, is somebody going to jump out of the plane while it's in motion? Is someone going to get their arm cut off by, like, a rudder? Like, what is going to happen between these two? Like, it made me feel very tense.
Also, because I'm watching Love Story right now, tiny planes in general give me so much anxiety because JFK Jr. and Carolyn famously died on that. You will never catch me on the tiny plane. You will only catch me on commercial, not just because it's an environmental thing, but I'm like, tiny planes, no thank you.
There are certain rich activities that are very unsafe. Skiing, tiny planes, like...
human trafficking,
These two of them continue to get into it, and Henry's like, you are using me as leverage. Like, again, Henry takes a breath and remembers who the fuck he is, in the sense that he's like,
I
I
know.
have a lot of privilege. You're not just going to take that away from me. And he starts to go in on Whitney and is like, there's dignity in knowing your place, which you clearly don't, Whitney, because you're trying to, like, fake that you're more important than you are. And he's like, you didn't take into account. I love this. I love this speech of like, there's one thing you forgot. And it's not like, I have a very special set of skills. It's like, I'm a rich, special boy.
Well, because it goes back to like what we're saying, that like what Whitney did in the U.S. you can't do in the U.K.
No.
Because it's all about how you were born, what private school or boarding school you went to, what family you come from. So it's like, no matter what mythology you made of yourself in the U.S., this isn't going to work here, bud. Unfortunately, you picked the one country where this isn't going to work for you.
No. He calls him a peasant, tells him to eat shit, and said, I would rather die as me than run as you. So even if it is influenced by, you know, power and position and aristocracy, Henry does have some integrity. He always has. He's always had, like, a pretty good heart, even though he's, like, a hapless idiot. And Henry heads home, where, of course, he is being hounded by the paparazzi. He is greeted at the door by Yaz and just gives this pitiful, like, I love you so much, I can change, I swear I'll do anything you want. Turns out he's doing this in front of the police. So we meet Davina Gascoigne, who I don't know if she's going to come back next season, but here's her whole crew of cops, people from, like, the serious fraud department, and they're telling...
One thing about the British police, I love they wear, like, the little bowler.
I know those
I can never take you
stupid
seriously.
hats. I know, they look like they're about to do, like, barbershop quartet, those dumb hats.
Oh, yeah, they're about to do the full Monty.
Yeah. And this... Oh, my God, I lost it. This little boy, he's like, well... What I know about the police is I have to be in handcuffs. And they're like, no, buddy, you don't have to be in handcuffs. That won't be necessary. And Yaz in the background just like, oh my God.
I have to tell you, they treated Paddington Bear worse than they treated Henry. And Paddington, all he did was, like, I think they accused him of stealing a few things of Paddington too. And Henry did much worse. And we're just giving him, like, all this dignity. Like, justice for Paddington Bear.
Also, John Valjean only stole a loaf of bread, okay?
Yeah!
And then we have a time jump. We know this just because of, like, how the transition feels, but also because underneath the chyron here, we've got Manhunt continues for Tender CFO after disappearance 6 weeks ago. So 6 weeks has passed. Not that long enough for some of these characters to have made some wild choices, as we will see.
Also, my thing was like, it should be who is Whitney Halberstram,
Yes,
not where.
Seriously, yeah. We've got the wrong question word here. And why? Why is Whitney Halberstram?
Why?
We are back at Norton headquarters, and it turns out that Yaz has found a nice, secure little position for herself here. Yaz's greatest strengths are, like, flirting and entertaining and bringing people together and influencing them. Like, so it makes a lot of sense.
Why is Norton so loyal to her?
He sees a lot of potential in her, I guess. I think he's also protective over her because he knows what a scumbag her father was. But it's got to be awkward, too, though, because, like... as we find out, like, Henry and Yaz are getting a divorce, but she's still working with his uncle. It's very weird. And Yaz is talking to our friend Sebastian Stefanovic about sort of changing his narrative because he's seen as this, like, fringe weirdo. Norton is like, well, here's how we spin it. You won the Orwell Scholarship, which is a scholarship that Eton... which is like a very fancy boys' school in London, offers, like, students who come from, like, less privilege, I guess. And obviously George Orwell was a famous dystopian writer, and he's like, the angle can be you won the Orwell Scholarship, but then, you know, you fell for the exact things that Orwell warned us about. Post-liberal, neo-reactionary, techno-accelerationist, you know, bad rich people who want less government so that they can carry out lots of crimes and make lots of money. Peter Thiel gets a mention, that fucking guy. And of course, Sebastian's like, Peter's a close friend of mine. Peter Thiel, among many other things, famously huge financial backer of the Trump campaign. Then Norton goes on to make the joke of like, bet you wish that, you know, you could take money from him for your campaign, even though he's in America. And of course, Sebastian's like, I believe that we should break down those barriers. people in other countries should be allowed to fund campaigns in this country because ideas and money are global. Sounds really nice when you put it that way, but Norton's like, you have an easy way into government. Just join the Conservative Party. Like, they mentioned Aurora, who, was the politician from a couple seasons back, and they're like, the Conservatives don't like her. Like, you could be their new shining star. And he's like, conservatism is dead. Lord Norton is like, oh, I guess Rome fell. And he says, and Byzantium rises. Byzantine Empire came after the Roman Empire. It was actually just a continuation of the Roman Empire because it was like the wealthier areas of Rome that still remained intact. I don't know, clues us into the fact that this guy, his whole idea is like, we need a radical shift and change. And it's like, you just want different privileged people to be in charge and espouse a different set of privileged values. Lord Norton gets called away and Yasmin's like, hope you're getting ready to have fun in Paris. And as the viewer, you're like, what the fuck are they going to be doing in Paris? And he says, sorry about your divorce. I don't believe in divorce. And like Yaz kind of jokingly but testing is like, what? You think it's like defies God? And he says yes. And then we get this face. Oh, great. Okay. Fuck me. Marisa Bella, your face, your eyes, just magic. Acting magic. Oh, yeah. Harper and the gang are looking at spaces because now they got a fuck ton of money so they can move somewhere nice. Harper gives them both checks for $2 million, and she's also taking $2 million, so it's all equal. Kwabena makes a joke of like socialism in action, LOL. And I love this. Sweetpea says I could have made more selling pictures of my feet. She's not wrong. We've been talking this whole season about like the stuff with Haley and the stuff with Sweetpea and Siren about how like this is a whole other aspect of industry, and it's like this conversation between like women claiming their agency and like getting their coin versus it being like creepy and reductive. Anyway.
And it's just amazing to see now Harper like, now that she's the Eric to Sweetpea, like how she's like doing her right. Yeah. She's like doing the opposite of like what Eric did to baby Harper.
Yes.
Baby sociopath Arthur. Yeah.
Yes. Harper invites Kwabena because she gets invited to Paris for Yaz's weird little, she calls it a high-minded networking event, but it's also some sort of like political fundraiser. Unclear. Kwabena decides to go. And I love this. The scene is capped off by Sweetpea filming some content just like flying through in the chair. And there's like a little thud. It's really cute and fun. I love it. Jennifer Bevan is talking to Ricky Martin with a Y, the chief of staff. I love that we never see the prime minister at all. And she's like, a source from inside the company, I will not tell you who, obviously Henry, mentioned like there might be something with Tender and Russia. And Ricky Martin at first is like, everybody who's getting in trouble from Tender is spinning whatever web to like get them out of it. She continues to question. She's like, well, it would look bad, right? Like we should look into it. And he says, I have high security clearance, and take it from me, don't poke the bear, aka do not get involved when it comes to Russian intelligence. You will be sorry. Jennifer calls Henry and is like, they know more than they're letting on, so you got to go a different way and like maybe talk to Lord Mostyn. And what was so funny is she's like, you're close with Lord Mostyn, and Henry says, I guess. And it's his godfather.
Right.
He's just such a despicable man. Nobody wants to claim him. We are back. Or not back. We are in Paris. This image of the Eiffel Tower makes me feel like Carrie going outside and going, ah!
I know. It's my favorite place in the world. I can't wait. I got a lot to say.
Harper and Kwabena run into Yaz and Haley in the lobby, and Yaz looks like she just snorted a rail and is on top of the world. Anything could happen. We're in Paris. Let's party. Haley is having a grand old time. Like, there's something so sinister. Like, I really wanted the two of these two to team up, but like now that they are teamed up, I'm like, what are these bitches up to? And Kwabena, this is very funny, says, wow, I wish I was going through a tough time. We are at lunch with Mostyn and Henry, and Mostyn's like, I'm so glad you reached out. Your uncle's so worried about you and you won't talk to him. We find out that charges are being brought against Henry and that he's been advised to take a plea deal. Not shocking. And he says, like, it probably won't be that bad. There's no mens rea when it came to fraud. And if we are familiar with the legal text known as Legally Blonde, mens rea means guilty mind. It's a core requirement for criminal liability. Basically saying like he didn't have like malicious intent, because he didn't know what the fuck was going on. And so he'll probably just get like house arrest and it won't be a big deal. And he's like, but when I'm on the stand, I'm going to put on a real show and I'm going to pause and tell them I think that Tender was a proxy for Russian intelligence. And he's not wrong, and he's been doing his research, and he's trying to figure out, like, why Russia might have been involved in Tender. And Otto is like, shut up, you sound crazy. Henry's like, please, raise the question in the Lords. And Otto's like, that would be really bad and, like, also potentially illegal. And then he starts talking about his friend Clovis Wodehouse, which I think this is either Otto making this name up or an inside joke with the writers. Clovis is the name of a main character from one of P.G. Wodehouse's contemporaries, another writer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think it's like a mashup of like P.G. Wodehouse and his contemporaries' jokes. They're two famous British writers. And
it was also based off a real thing that happened.
Yes, the story was.
Yeah.
But yeah, this name, Clovis, the character of Clovis was known as like kind of like a freewheeling English cad. Basically, Otto's giving him a warning of the same warning that Ricky Martin gave Jennifer Bevan. Like, this guy ended up impaled on the beautiful Georgian railings of his house in London that he could no longer afford because he got in deep with some bad people in Russia who he owed a lot of money to, and it did not work out for him. And it didn't seem like it was a murder because he had mental health issues. You have mental health issues, do you not? Could be very rational explanation that you would commit suicide. You're in a really tough spot right now. He says the point is, stay the fuck away because, like, they will kill you.
Okay, so we are back to Haley, and now we're playing Get Thee Behind Me, Satan. But again, this, as we just referenced earlier, but this one is now recorded by Ella Fitzgerald. And why this is significant and is gonna, like, make some more sense in the conversation in the scenes ahead. Ella Fitzgerald was part of the Lost Generation that, like, went to Paris, like, the artists like James Baldwin, Ernest Hemingway, a lot of, like, the Midnight in Paris stuff, a film that I could never watch again, R.I.P., Woody Allen. And so it tells you a lot of that, like, around this time in, like, World War I through, like, World War II in the 50s, like, these artists who were being marginalized in the U.S. because obviously Ella Fitzgerald, James Baldwin, they were both African-American, they were able to have a bit more freedom. So that sort of is the influence of all of this right here at the top. And we see now, like, Yaz is, like, grooming Haley a bit. Again, we don't really quite know what the dynamic is quite yet. We're sort of, like, feeling what's about to come. It's a great room to be in. And we find out, I hope your little cousin has fun, too. So Dolly's been brought back, which I was like, oh, no.
I was like, I hope she's a cater waiter. I hope that's the opportunity that we're giving her, is that she's gonna...
her a scholarship to university?
Yeah, like, seriously. Oof.
It just, the stomach started to really turn here. I was like, oh, no. Yaz, things are not looking great. And she asks her while she's again, the chaise lounge sort of seems to be where Yaz has her, like,
it's where she does business. Yeah,
it's where she does her business. Again, approaches Haley, says, do you have footage of us? And I yelled when she said this, I masturbate to the game tape. I was like, oh my god. And then she's like, come on, Yaz, there's no tape. And now, which I really am like, I don't know what we're supposed to think here.
I think there might be. I just think that Haley doesn't have it.
That, or it's like, Yaz is meant to be kept on her toes with this.
Yeah.
She's never going to know peace when it comes to this specific piece.
Yeah, like, this power dynamic is really interesting because, like, Yaz wants to fully have the upper hand, but she never will because she's a little bit scared of Haley. Like, Haley has stunned her more than a few times.
Because she worked with Whitney. Whitney taught her, how to get away with this. They worked hand in hand. And then she takes her to the mirror and she says, see Paris and die, which this is a famous saying, meaning that Paris is so beautiful and fulfilling that once you've experienced it, you've seen the very best life has to offer. Nothing more is needed. It's like not about death. Like, it's just about complete satisfaction. And we cut back to Kwabena and Harper's suite, and we see this invitation to the dinner.
Oh, we also see that Yasmin has dropped Muck, obviously, but has also dropped her mom's maiden name and is just going by Yasmin Hanani now. Which,
bold choice.
Yep.
And also it starts at 8 p.m. to late, which is so European. It's like, we start at 8 and you're gonna be there till 2 or 3. That they love a late dinner in Paris. And Kwabena's like, I had a mate at Francis Holland with Yasmin, the boarding school that are growing up, and they talk about, like, Harper makes this comment like most people have been bullied or they're the bullies, and it's like this cycle that we go through. And it's like interesting because it's like, okay, so Yaz was bullied and is like now becoming the bully, and it's like
also Harper, that explains Harper and Yaz's
Harper.
relationship too to each other. Yeah, like
this weird cycle that these two are in. And she's like, come on, you came from this like same background, you're not better than them. She's a survivor. And Kwabena's like, okay, I've like given you my warning, my 2 cents, I'm going out, have fun at this dinner. And Kwabena, probably, I think he was better for not going to this dinner.
He was. I will say, though, and I think we're going to see more of Kwabena next season, I assume. He is such a weird character to me because he, like, seems like a good guy because he's so, like, cheerful and he's good at what he does. But it never sat right with me that after Sweetpea got attacked, he was kind of, like, pretty chill about it. Like, he didn't seem, like, devastated by the fact that, like, his coworker and a woman got punched in the face in a foreign country. I know that, like, there's more going on with him and Harper that we'll talk about later, but, like, him just sort of being like, whatever, I'm going to the club, like, you deal with it on your own. There's, like, a level of, like, distance, like, emotional distance from him that, like, concerns me.
And we go to this dinner, and one of these things is not like the other. Harper is the only person of color at this table. And she is sat with our favorite mommy-son duo who are out on date night. They are out on date night. They're out with all the most nefarious people that Yasmin could wrangle. It feels like Get Out. We are like international Get Out. They are immediately like glomming onto Harper saying, how are you so right about it? And they're like, you know, we'll survive this indecency, won't we? And they're like so in love and enamored with Yaz because she's like bringing these like nefarious people together. She was the victim. She deserves the chance to restart her life. And Harper's like, oh no, I maybe should not have come here. These are titans of industry. And they're like so enamored with Sebastian because he's able to put a more likable face to his terrible ideas in the column that Yaz gave him after the trip to Hitler headquarters.
Yep.
And that he's able to embody a zeitgeist. And she's like, he's so dashing. Mother, control yourself. And I was like, oh, God. She makes the comment that it's a shame that Paris no longer feels like Paris. So I'll say when I was living in France, because there's a lot of immigration from Northern Africa into France in general, but there's a lot of this in Paris. 70% of France are Catholic, but 5% are Muslim, but of that, like, 90% of them are practicing Muslim. You're seeing it much more in the fabric of the cities in France. And several years ago, that was a whole thing that, I think this was when Macron was president, that they made the, for the women who are Muslim, if they're wearing the veil, there was like a €250 fine if you're wearing this in public.
What?
So there is... Yes, this was in the last, like, I think 10 to 15 years. So it is, like, there is this sort of, like, internalized racism and fear of this immigration within France. Like, I think we have this, like, as outsiders, you're like, oh my God, Paris is magical. But there
and it's like bohemian paradise.
But there is a lot more of this that you see. And, like, where I studied, like, in Normandy, there was, like, a huge part of this population, like, in the city I lived in Rennes, where you would see a lot more people from, like, Northern Africa who lived in different parts of the city. They don't like that these people are coming into France.
It's bleak. It's really bleak because as Americans, I think, like you said, we often have this idea of, like, I'll just run away to Europe. And it's, like, fascists and racists everywhere.
And I think, and this was also a big issue when the Olympics were happening in Paris, of like how they were dividing the city. There's like obviously a lot more detailed research and go into it. So it's just like a light. So it's like this weird dynamic that is like unfolding there, and it's like obviously. It's just, I think it's hard for us to also, as like Americans, to like compartmentalize a lot what happens in Europe because like U.S. is so big. So, like, France is like Florida.
I know.
It's like that. So it's like, so you feel it, the impact of like on a much more like concentrated level. You can DM me if you want my go-to hotel and my spot and my air endorsement that I like to hang in Paris. I can give you everything you want. It gets worse, and so we see Harper starts chugging champagne, importing people who reject your values as national suicide. repatriation is the only model, meaning like we got to go back to the people who came from here. These people say the most hateful things. Like it's the most casual thing.
Well, because they were invited into this room under the auspices of like, everyone in this room agrees with you. So like, just like,
let it out.
Let it out. Just say whatever you want to say. Go crazy.
And they like are just so united on their date night that like Sebastian is the way forward. Sebastian is going to be the one to carry us through. And then she whispers to Harper, "You're not like the other ones, are you?" Oh, God. And Harper's like, "What other?" And this was when I was like, Harper's weaponizing this because she wants them to say it out loud.
Yeah.
She wants them to say the quiet part out loud because it's like, okay, you've already said everything else. You might as well say like what you're wanting to say here.
Say it, you bitch.
Sebastian thanks Yasmin, and it's just like, it's so devastating that this is the only way forward that Yas saw for herself.
I know. She always makes the worst possible choice. How? I hate it.
And Sebastian's like, I want to think of a toast that unite us. And they're like, family, traditions, and proud nations, which... of course, only makes me think about, like, birth of a nation and, like, all these other horrible things from our past. It's, like, all cyclical history is why we study it, because if you don't study it, we become it.
Also, like, fascist conservatives love to focus on, like, the family aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing we see with people who are anti-abortion, too. Of, like, we like... lifting up this idea of like family and babies, and why wouldn't you want to be nice to babies? Why don't you care about families? And it's like, I do care about families. I care about the families of people who are being ripped apart and half of them are being thrown in detention centers. Like, those are also families. I hate it. I fucking hate it.
Yaz gives this look to Harper across the table like, hey, are you having a good time, girl? And she's like, no, Allison Williams, you brought me into this.
Marnie, I am not having a good time. Neo-Nazi Marnie, I am not.
I know. About as she starts singing Stronger, like in season 2.
That is, in my opinion, one of the best moments in television.
Oh. Let's get lost tonight. You can be my white Kate Moss tonight.
Lena Dunham directed the pilot of Industry.
That's right. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
But we are at the after. They've finished like all of their foie gras, all of the good things, their escargot. We find out, Yaz is sober now, but not in an annoying way. I just enjoy clarity, which is, oh my God, the worst thing. When you hear someone reframe sobriety like that, I'm like...
I know. Also, like, I don't believe it for one fucking second, Yaz. Like,
no!
Maybe during the party.
Sober?
Yeah.
Yeah. What level of sober are we talking? Sober from coke? Sober from... Like, what are we talking about? Sebastian is talking to them. We see this first shot of, like... very purposeful shot of Haley walking past them, and I was like, did Sebastian sort of, like, look at her? Was sort of, like, my thought? Yeah.
Yes.
We find out he's got to take the Eurostar, the tunnel. Ugh, I took it this last trip. It was, it's fascinating. You get there in, like, 2 hours. It's crazy. You're just, like, you see nothing. You're going under the water.
If you ever want to get Caroline excited, talk about a train.
The way that they're viewing Harper, it's like she's like a caged bird in this. Like, she's like, they're poking her apart like she's like a little experiment. It's like, your mind is, wow, it's so different, like devising a new OS.
Yeah.
And Harper's like, there are some pretty blunt ideas around the table tonight. And he's like, well, everyone's here to donate. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, he was like, I can't really be responsible for... these people just support me, and I don't necessarily believe all of their individual shitty views, like, not taking responsibility.
Yeah, they're pockets. Come on, they're not that bad. And finally, the girls are getting to Kiki in the corner, and Harper's like, but a lot of them are from out of the country. She's like, oh, but Yaz is like, but come on, they have funds listed in the UK, so it's fine, because there's always a loophole for people of a certain,
wealth,
dollar amount. They can get around everything. And she's like, but isn't there like a gray area? And she uses Harper's words against her. She's like, but that's where the edge is. That's what you always say. We start to see lots of girls walking past that Harper's starting to notice as the conversation is happening. And Harper's like, why are you doing this? And Yaz's like, joy. And Harper's like, yeah, but these are very extreme people. And Yaz is like, come on, don't fall into that trap. You're going to be like that Labor Party. Like, don't fall into it. These are fresh ideas. Like, she's like rebranding it for herself. that, like, it is not the thing that it is. We've rebranded the piece of shit into, like, a shiny piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
These are fresh ideas. And Harper's like, come on, don't be their fool. She's like now forcing her to say the thing. You sat me next to 2 fucking Nazis tonight. She's like, sorry, obviously I didn't mean to do that. And we see some familiar faces, some familiar girls walking amongst. And Harper finally asks, who are these girls? And she tells her she was a girl hired at Lord Norton's house.
Yeah, we saw her in Henry's birthday episode.
All goes back to episode 2. Episode 2 really was like the fertilizing ground for a lot of everything happening in the finale. She's like, what, you pay her to be, what, window dressing? And it's like, come on, relax. You know, it's like cock-heavy parties are always dead. We need to make it a bit more gender balanced. And Harper's like, yeah, but you invited them into this situation. And Yaz is like trying to be like, no, but I'm giving her the access. She'd never seen Paris if it wasn't for me. And she's like, we know that this world will own you. And talks about, like, you know, men will always go into this if they know that they can come.
Yeah, she said they would swim through sewage for an orgasm. And
this is where really the whole Ghislaine Maxwell stuff is coming to a head. Because, as we know, the boat that Charles Hanani, that was named after Yaz. Also, Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, the boat was also named after Ghislaine. He also fell off a yacht. So it's like everything is, unfortunately, coming full circle. And Yaz is becoming what we all feared.
And we saw a hint of it when she was at the Norton offices with that Kevin guy last week. And she was getting, like, kind of titillated, causing that whole tabloid firestorm. And Norton had to be like, ooh, chill out. She's only going by Yasmin Hanani now. Like, we're very clearly, unfortunately, leaning into her lineage and what she thinks that she's good at because it's what her dad was good at.
And Yaz hands her her phone.
Oh, God.
And she starts playing a video. And Harper's like, what the fuck am I looking at? For all of us, I'm not putting a screenshot of that video. We've already seen it. We've already been through it.
When Jim and I were watching, he literally on the couch went, oh, don't show me it.
We know. We can just play the audio.
We know what it Ken
doesn't want us to see his butt like that again.
No, this was so dark of Yaz to be like, okay, you want to disagree with me because you want to think I'm a bad person? I'm going to ruin your life.
Yep, and she says, that's Eric. And Harper throws the phone and is like, oh my God. And as she says later in the episode that we're about to see, everyone is crumbling around her. The last, like, 2 people she had left, Eric and Yaz, the 2 people that, like, she really thought she could count on, are worse than she could have imagined. Like, they're becoming the worst thing.
Yeah.
And Harper's like, why do you have that? And they look across the room, and Yaz tells her, that's the girl in the video. And
oh God, and she's sitting on like Colonel Sanders' lap.
I know, it's so bad. And she like makes the comment. She's like, well, girls lie about their age, Harper. And this I thought was interesting because she's framing it to Harper saying he willingly had sex with a 15-year-old girl when we know as the audience that Eric didn't know how old she was.
Right.
He knew and also I've been seeing stuff online like, do we know was that age made up on the passport? To, like, fuck over. Like, we don't know. We're never gonna know.
We're never gonna know, no.
And Yaz tries to, like, reframe it. It's like, it's her choice. And we find out she lost her virginity at 14. So she's like, I became a woman as soon as I wanted someone. And says the world is not exploitation or opportunity. It's both and, the title of the episode. That's the world, Harper. We've lost Yaz.
We've lost her. We've lost her completely. She is so far in her own self-mythology of like, actually, what I'm doing is very empowering. And like, these women have their own agency to do whatever they want. And like, this is something that men want. Again, it goes back to Sweetpea being like, I could have made more money selling pictures of my feet. It's like, oh, it's so complicated. But Yaz has really fully rationalized this for herself that because she's a woman and because she's treating these women nicely and she's giving them options and she's taking good care of them. I mean, it's just so funny because it's like, of course.
It's girl power.
It's girl power. Of course, Yasmin isn't going to do what other women do in a divorce. She's not going to like get really into Reiki or like get scammed by an MLM or like Jennifer Coolidge in Sex and the City. She's not going to have a purse party. Like, she's gonna become
or Jennifer Coolidge in White Lotus throwing her mother's ashes off the side of a boat and meeting a bad man who gets her murdered.
She's gonna instead become like the beloved madam of a fucked up brothel. That's what she's gonna do. Of course.
God, it makes my stomach. It's just so ugh. And it's like, we've seen her go this far. It's like, I don't know where we go with another season.
It's
like,
bad. It's so bad.
Harper's like, has Eric seen this video? Because now she's finally putting together Eric's abrupt exit and why it was the way that it was. And Yaz trying to defend her. She's like, she recorded it for her own safety, okay? And says, like, this man is your North Star. This is not a man, Harper. This is a beast. Oh my God, to see, like, your best friend become this evil,
I know.
Yes!
It's so
We're
bad.
rooting for you!
I
As
know.
someone who just finished the Top Model doc, we're all rooting for you.
We were all rooting for you. We knew in our heart of hearts that she wasn't gonna, but this was even more disappointing than I could have even possibly fathomed.
Oh. Well, and we go from, she was this, like, little wimp, like, in season 1, who is, like, bumbling, like, salad orders, and Kenny was yelling at her, to, like, now she's it's just, like, the evolution is, like, very interesting to see. And Harper's like, oh my God, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna record all these men and blackmail them? And she's, again, this is not who you are. Where is she? And, like, you don't, pleading with her, like, you don't have to do this. Like, take my hand, let's go. She physically puts the hand out and is like, her last, like, little moment she can get of, like, if you can, you know, if you've ever cared about me ever, come on. And Yaz puts her hands in there and says, I'm sorry. The world's showing you what it is. Puts her hands again in this, like, image. And it makes me think of that shot in Succession at the end of season 3. What is the siblings when they're, like, outside.
Oh, yeah.
Each other. She's like, you metabolize the hard feelings, you become someone. And she says the, like, devastating thing, that this was the only way Yaz was ever going to feel any semblance of agency and power. I feel important here. I'm necessary. I feel new.
It's like cult vibes. Like, she's gone. She's gone. It's so, like, scary.
It's so, because it's like her dad put her in this, like, little bubble, and it's like only she could never. It makes me want to cry. It just, like, makes me, like, sad that it's like she never was going to be the thing that, like, he made her out to be, and it's really sad. It is.
It's really, really sad. I mean, it's really, really sad that all of the lessons that Yaz has learned have resulted in her being like, I have to become the horrible men that took advantage of me. Those men had power over me, so yeah. I will just become them, and then they won't have power over me anymore. And it's really bleak.
Harper walks away and realizing, like, now she's lost Eric. Mm-hmm. She's lost Yaz. It's like, and again, it's like this lonely thing has also been an overarching theme throughout the series of, like, being alone and, like, what that means for these characters. And she tries, like, one last ditch effort. She goes up to her and tells her, like, you should go. And she was like, what are you talking about? Like, leave me alone. I'm on Daddy Warbucks' lap. She's like, get up and get out of this fucking room. And she, like, tries to take her, like, phone. She's like, give me that. And Dolly's like, get the fuck off me. And Haley's like, don't fucking touch her, bitch. Like, you know. And says, like, if you're gonna be like that. Yaz gives her one last look. And Haley says the thing, like, and it makes me think of the episode in before Kristen falls out of the window. She's like, if you can't be in Paris, where the fuck can you be happy? You know, no one has fun anymore. I'm so bored I could die.
Fun anymore.
So
yeah.
Yes.
Just trying to turn the energy around.
Yeah, it's like, come on. And I want to talk about this shot. So it's like, again, it's framed like she's behind bars. Interesting. And Harper's just, like, collapsed on the bed in the hotel room. Just, like, everything is taken from her. And we see her just, like, fully on the bed. Kwabena comes in. Harp, this isn't working for me. And he says a woman, like, hit on me. He's like, if I'm honest, I felt great. And Harp, I was just like, I could feel this also just, like, collapsing on the bed like that, where she's just, like, so, like, everything is bad. I can't really go from here. And Harper's just like, okay, I just dealt with, like, I've lost Eric, I've lost Yaz, now you're coming at me, like, my God, can the hits not keep coming? Is Mercury retrograde? What the fuck do you want me to say? And he's like, you're just, like, AI or something, like, you're NPC. And he brings up saying, I know Sweetpea told you slept with me, and I thought you would have said something. And she's like, well, maybe I don't have another fucking thing going on. And he says, like, it's like we're intimate with no intimacy. And Harper finally tells someone, not Eric, my mom died when you were in her craw. Like, revealing this intimate piece of herself. It's like, finally, like, she's, like, letting someone in a little bit. And he's like, I wish you'd said this. Like, fuck me.
Yeah.
And, you know, and she says to him, like, it's like all of her armor is down. Like, who I thought all my constants in my life have all become something I didn't know they were.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, like, finally, I like being around you. You're the only other black person I ever interact with, which I laughed at. Because I was like, it's true. She's never with another black person.
It's true.
The other one went to California.
Yep.
And he's like, is that supposed to be romantic? And we see this, like, interesting framing. Harper's literally on her knees. And Kwabena has, like, the upper hand in this framing, which, like, never happens where Harper is not above everything. And it's interesting because, like, we saw Harper season 1 was this, like, hard-ass sociopath who was working so hard she lost one of her teeth. And now we see this, like, evolution where Harper is now maybe realizing being alone isn't all that it's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
Maybe I do have to let someone in a little bit.
This is one of the, like, there's a lot of shocking, surprising stuff in this finale in this season, but, like, the humanization of Harper and her sort of, like, opening up to somebody in this way is pretty shocking, and it makes me excited for the character development here.
So, and it's like Mihaela it's like, it's not a showy way that she's going about this. It's so internal and, like, amazing to really watch. It's very subtle. And Kwabena says to her, not at the cost of everything else, Harper. She's like, it's not for me. And so we sort of see it's like maybe these two, there's a way forward for both of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's like, it gave me, I was like, I'm really glad Harper is in this moment not choosing to isolate herself further, which she could have. Like, she's giving Kwabena a crumb.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to last long term, but in this moment, I'm, like, glad she's given this to this other person who, like, is maybe the most relatable to her. Jennifer Bevan is watching that Henry has been arrested. He's, like, gone to court. And we find out, you know, he's been engaging with the process. He's not talking about Russia. He's pleaded guilty to charges of fraud. And Jennifer Bevan's like, oh, you poor sweet puppy.
Yep.
We're both pawns. And Henry's like, it starts and ends with Whitney. Period. And we cut back to Yaz, where they're like, Miss Muck, and she is like, Miss Hanani. Our girly girl from the night before, she is like, she's thanking her for the evening. She was like, I told you there's nowhere like Paris. She says in French before this, il est agité par les vagues, mais ne sombre pas. Meaning, like, she's tossed by the waves, but she doesn't sink, which is like, what a horrible thing to say.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that bad. You're not gonna fall to the bottom.
I know, and this woman is still in her dress from last night and carrying her shoes, so we can infer what was happening, you know, and to say that to a woman after that's just happened of, like, just let it roll off your back. You'll be fine, sweetie.
Yep.
Move on.
Yep. Really horrible. And then she tells Haley, we're meeting the Qataris at 8 at Le Piqueur. Justina Hermes is expecting you. I was like, oh man, she's getting this girl at Kelly. Do you know how long you have to be on the wait list for those?
Yeah, I know.
Crazy.
I'm also like, where did all this money come from? Because you and Henry lost everything. How has she managed to, in 6 weeks?
The people at the table the night before.
Yeah.
It happens quickly. You put the right women, because I bet also those men paid for the access.
Yeah. You're right.
It works. Yeah.
I'm naive.
Dirty money. Yeah, I know. I don't want to think about it like that, but unfortunately that's where we're at. And she says, you got it, boss. And I was like, oh man, these two are going to be next season. And we talked about how we saw Charles Hanani was in the casting list for this episode. We wondered how he was going to get used. So when the doors close, she starts playing the last voicemail she got from her dad, where he's like, come hop aboard the gorgeous boat I named just for you. And it plays quietly at first. And we see her closing her eyes, come, love you, my little cherub.
She almost listens to it like a meditation, like, because she, like, makes it louder. She lies on the floor and breathes. And
she says, Mina, Mina. Yeah, and she's here. And ends with her staring at the ceiling.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a couple different things happening. It's like she does still love and miss her father, as fucked up as that is. But I also think that, like, this is sort of like an exercise of, like, emboldening herself to become her dad, sort of.
Yeah.
It's like a weird, like, self-brainwashing exercise of, like, listening to his voice, and like it's not the voice of a man speaking to his daughter. There's something very like seductive and creepy about it. So like there's a lot going on. Like she's getting a lot of different things from this, but one of them I think is sort of like, you are like your father. You are your father's daughter. You're gonna like carry out his legacy.
The legacy.
Ugh, it's gross.
She's also, I think, freeing herself from, like, what happened to him and, like, how she, like, sort of is, like, why he, like, fell off the boat.
Yeah.
And, like, everything. I think it's just, like, that was Yaz 1.0, and now she's Yaz 2.0.
Yeah.
So it's, like, this is the new evolution Pokemon of Yaz.
God.
Not the Charizard that we want.
No.
And the song continues. We see, again, we have a lot of shots again this episode, as we've seen throughout the season, the shots from the back. Henry is going to see Norton. He's like on his knees, I'm so sorry, pleading for him. And we're back to the song that back in, was it episode 3, 4, where he's singing this in the shower?
Dear Henry, yeah.
They're now in a little pond, these 3 men in this big boat, little pond, fishing, singing the Gilbert and Sullivan, but he's an Englishman. Henry is just got his little hat on, looking at the sky. He's got his sun hat on. He's got his lithium pills. Norton is staring at him while he's about to take the lithium pills. Swinging it down with a little beer on the boat. Yeah, yep. as every doctor would recommend.
Henry Muck went back to his enclosure to have safe playtime. This song playing in the background of this, of like, he tried to be a bunch of other things. He tried to branch out, but he's an Englishman. He's this guy.
And we see, and he's got his house arrest monitor. As we talked about, he's getting house arrest. So really, just a slap on the wrist, he still gets to fish in his little enclosure. Like a little dog with their invisible fence. He gets zapped if he, like, leaves it. And we see them, he's finally caught a big fish, but he can't do it alone.
No.
There's 2 people that are always, propping him up. The biggest net I have ever seen, if there's anything that's more metaphorical for a man, is that they need a giant net to catch, like, the tiniest fish.
I know. I wonder if this shot was just, like, a silly reference to, like, Washington crossing the Delaware.
Probably. I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, it's definitely referencing that.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Harper, and she's being interviewed on this jet. They're talking about, talking about the whole thing about Tinder at large, that people are too afraid to question. And she's like, I had a team of people who I cared about. Now, cut back to episode, I think it's 3, this is the Austrian episode. Jim Diker mentions why he has to rush and publish this of Finn Digest, because Patty Radden-Keefe or someone will get the scent. Who is interviewing Harper? Patty Radden-Keefe is
playing
himself. Playing himself. Famous New Yorker investigative journalist. I had a friend who texted me who doesn't watch Industry. They're like, wait, Caroline, were they on Industry? And I was like, wow, I'm glad this is like what alerts you to Industry.
Yeah.
Like, I got tickets to their book tour. So we got him himself. He got on the call sheet. He's on the PJ. And he was like, weren't you just like a singular operative? And she's like, well, we're talking about people change. And he's like, or does this like ultimately make you feel very alone? Both and. We go back, it's all these things at once that Harper is like acknowledging about being alone and with others. It's both and, as Yaz said. Kwabena is smiling at her. Kwabena's on the PJ. And we keep hearing this flight attendant ask, like, are you done with your gin and tonic? But obviously it's like a bigger thing in general. Like, it's not just that. It's like, Harper, are you done? Yeah. Are you done with this? And we're left with this look of Harper on the PJ.
Yep. And then did you put the Whitney?
Oh yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yes, I did. Sorry. I forgot about it again because I didn't see it, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute, this happened? Because if you blinked, it happened, like they showed Industry, and then we see Whitney through a sniper's glare. We don't know.
Or a glory hole.
Glory hole. We don't know. He's also... He worked on that beard for so long, and he just, like, got rid of it very quickly.
Ran out of spirit gum.
Yeah.
Couldn't get more.
This haunting image of Whitney, we'll never see you again. Rest in peace, Whitney.
Yeah, seriously.
But we are left with our ragamuffin bunch, I feel like we're going to meet the Russia people next season. We've
probably,
sort of set that up. We've not really met the Russia. I think we're going to see Sebastian is going to be like in charge of some big piece of the UK government, I think, next season.
I think Yaz is her whole like web she's starting to spin with all these women is probably going to get exposed if we're following like the Ghislaine Maxwell arc.
Yeah. Is Harper going to expose Yaz?
She very well could.
Because we talk about her being like the truth teller.
Yeah.
So it's like, is she now going to be the one that takes her best friend down? So I'm like, again, I hope these two are kissing behind bars, hand in hand. It's really all I keep hoping for.
That's what we wanted. I have to thank this show. I feel like it made me smarter, but I will be very ready to take a nice little brain break from it. But I really loved it. This season was everything. So detailed, incredible imagery, incredible like music supervision, the acting, the writing. Everything was just treated like a beautiful painting. Like everything was just a masterpiece. Each individual episode, the season as a whole, loved it.
And again, like we said, it's crazy to me they filmed this, wrote this over a year ago, and it's released in 2026. And it's like with the headlines right now. It's just like, I'm like so baffled by that. And it's so amazing. Like, round of applause, Mickey and Conrad. Like, you really have done it. But I think we got to tell everybody. So we're not leaving the drugs for long, everybody. Because our next show, we're going with Euphoria, the final season, for better for worse. We couldn't leave the Coke for long. It really, that white snow is too enticing. I'm scared. I'm nervous in a different way, but I think it's going to be interesting.
I think so too. I got to finish catching up on it, but I'm excited.
And continue to yap with us. We're going to have so much fun. Euphoria is going to be a mess. We're going to have a great time, and we'll see you soon, everybody. Bye.